Fights in a Waffle House is a felony, people, alright? No script here. Don't try this at home. Alright class, settle down and let me tell you a story. Tekken 8 director Katsuhiro Hirata just teased the possibility of adding Waffle House as an in-game stage. Coincidentally, our favorite American propagandist has also made stuff regarding this mythic modern battleground. But before we check it out, please like, share, subscribe with the whole notification button thing to help me out with the algo, and here we go.
Okay, I'm just going to be honest with you. I actually debated on which channel I was going to upload this video on because on one hand, we're going over a business and the business model.
Well, I mean, anyone might actually consider this as a sponsored video. This is Waffle House after all, the Roman Coliseum of the South.
Model that it has.
But no. I mean, I wouldn't consider it the Roman Coliseum of the South because apparently gladiator matches were considered more or less well, same as WWE. I mean, they weren't, muscular guys, they were mostly fat guys, so they could actually bleed more. The whole thing was supposedly scripted, right? No one, it was very rare that these gladiators actually fought to the death because they were quite an expensive investment. I mean, imagine you're gonna build the next, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the next Triple H, the next John Cena, and then you're just going to get him killed. Not gonna happen. Way too expensive. But unlike in Waffle House, the whole thing is a death match. It's a fight to the death. The whole thing that would definitely end. Fights in a Waffle House is a felony, people. All right. No script here. Don't try this at home. Or you know what? Just don't do this at all. I remember the memes, and there was this Waffle House application form circulating around back in the mid 2Ks that one of the requirements of being able to work in a Waffle House, or one of the questions in the questionnaires in the application form was, can you fight? Do you know how to throw hands? Can you throw hands? Anyway, so why don't we just keep on going?
But on the other hand, this restaurant is basically the Roman Coliseum of the South,
Yes,
and I'm pretty sure if you eat there enough, you actually get a deployment patch from the U.S. military. Regardless, I wore my schnazziest tank top for the occasion. Today we're talking about Waffle House.
You get free PTSD treatment from the VA after serving 6 months at the tour.
Okay, just to be completely clear with everybody, I was pretty sure I was not going to get caught off guard because Waffle House is already absolutely crazy. I started looking into it and then found out that Waffle House is somehow connected to the Manhattan Project from World War II. So
Really?
They managed to actually surprise me, and we're going to get to it. Waffle House, the story begins with a gentleman by the name of Tom Faulkner. This man graduated from law school at 23 years old, passed the bar, and immediately gets drafted in 1940 in the days leading up to World.
So, the story of Tom Faulkner, who became a lawyer at 24. He graduated at 23. Did he take the bar in the same year? We don't know, but he got drafted.
World War II. Because he graduated from college, he's presented with two different options. He can A, go straight into officer training, and that's a 3-year commitment, or he can just be a normal draftee and go in as an enlisted soldier, and that is a 1-year commitment. Now, you gotta remember, at this point in time, like 1940, while World War II is currently going on.
Be extra. Go OCS.
America's not involved yet. The attack on Pearl Harbor has not happened. And prior to the attack on Pearl Harbor, the American people did not want to go to war. Because of that, Tom Faulkner figures, hey, we're not actually going off to war. I don't want to waste 3 years of my time just being in the military, not actually, fighting a war or whatever. So he chooses to be a draftee. Goes into the military as an enlisted soldier, E1 private. From there, goes off to basic training. As soon as he gets through basic training, the attack on Pearl Harbor ends up happening. America enters the war. He immediately opts to go into OCS training and commits for 3 years. After he completes the officer training course, he actually gets slotted to be a counterintelligence officer, where he does, and I quote, a lot of top secret stuff.
You see, my identity must remain
Chris Farley, oh my god. He's Chris Farley, right? That is his name. Can someone please put it down in the comments? The Beverly Hills Ninja, Almost Heroes with, what was the name of that guy from Friends? Chandler Bing. The name of that actor, well, they both passed away. Unfortunately, he died from an overdose, and well, Chandler Bing died from that. Was it considered as natural causes? Can someone please put it down in the comments? Anyways, They were both accomplished actors in their own right.
Mysterious and my mission secret. I cannot reveal it to you.
You can actually tell in the interviews that he gave later on in his life, like in his 70s, 80s, and 90s, that he's still not sure what he is and what he isn't allowed to talk about. But he did end up telling us that basically it was his job to try to sneak onto
Usually, declassification happens after 50 years. I mean, based on my previous work, things usually get declassified after 50 years.
military bases, not as military personnel. So he would basically disguise himself as
I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to say that kind of stuff. I mean, there are actual dates because I worked with declassified documents during my time at service, and I count the dates declassification happened after 50 years. Okay, I should really. Yeah, just like that. Yeah, I'm not even sure. Oh, am I allowed to talk about that stuff now? I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. But that's all I know, right? Declassification happens after 50 years. But then again, this is a different military, different jurisdiction, so wouldn't know.
as like a painter or a carpenter or whatever and try to infiltrate a US military base to expose weaknesses within the system to help counteract enemy spies. So he does that for a couple of years.
So counter espionage, he's into that?
And then one day he ends up getting orders like, hey, you're going to Knoxville, Tennessee. And he's like, okay, for what? And they're like, don't fucking worry about it, just show up. So he shows up in Tennessee and he's given his orders. And those orders, I'm paraphrasing here, but they're essentially, hey, here's your partner. You two are going to hop in that truck and you are going to drive it from Knoxville, Tennessee to Los Alamos, New Mexico. You guys are going to dress in plain clothes. You're not going to look at what's inside the truck. You're not going to talk about what's inside the truck. You're going to take this map.
So Project Manhattan, I can't remember the name of that particular book or who the author was, but the planes that dropped the nuclear bomb, supposedly the Enola Gay, and I forgot the name of that other plane, the crews of the said plane that dropped the atomic bomb on Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, didn't know. Supposedly, according to that particular book, they didn't know what the payload was. They thought it was just another regular mission. But anyways,
and take that exact route. This route avoids every major city and every major highway. You were going to drive straight.
So they might have something to do with Project Manhattan or delivering some materials for Project Manhattan. So Los Alamos, New Mexico.
There 53 hours straight, taking turns sleeping in the passenger seat and not stopping for any reason whatsoever. And he does this for the next year and a half, pretty much non-stop. And then like 20, 30 years after the fact, he finds out that he was actually hauling the majority of the enriched uranium for all of the nuclear testing and the building of nuclear weapons. Which, as we all know, brings about the end of World War II, at which point he gets out of the military, moves back home to Atlanta, Georgia, starts helping his dad out with his real estate agency. Now he does that for about 10 years, and during this time, he ends up selling the house right next door to his to another guy by the name of Joe Rogers, and they pretty much become best friends. Joe Rogers was also an Army veteran. He was actually a pilot that flew B-24s in World War II. When Joe got back home after the war, he did not want to go off to college, so he actually just took the first job that he was offered, being a short order cook at a now defunct restaurant chain known as Toddle House. He worked his way up becoming a restaurant manager and then eventually becoming a regional manager. And then one day his neighbor and best friend, Tom Forkner, real estate agent, always looking for the next investment, comes to him and is like, hey, I'm thinking about opening up my own restaurant. I can get the real estate deal going on that side. I just wanted to know, like, if I opened up and bought a franchise of Toddle House, would you be willing to run it for me? Now at this point, it's like 1954, 1955. Joe Rogers has a ton of experience inside the restaurant industry, and he basically tells his best friend, like, hey, don't open a Toddle House. You should start your own thing. Toddle House's business model isn't that great. If you start your own...
I've been told that instead of getting a franchise, just do your own concept. It might be cheaper depending on the concept that you're going to come up with. But you know what, just come up with your own brand, get an artist or something, do the jingle for the marketing or whatever. May it be chicken, burgers, or ice cream. Just, it's definitely a better experience, or at least, you know, I've been told that instead of buying a franchise, or try to come up with your own concept. But the thing is, of course, you're going to have to start from scratch. Whereas, you know, if you buy into a franchise, you're basically borrowing their brand, or you're going to be bandwagoning with their brand.
Restaurant, I will help you run it. He then goes off on vacation with his family, and by the time he comes back, Tom Forkner has already bought the real estate and comes to Rogers and is like, cool, What's the business we're starting?
Where's Pancake's house?
Pancakes.
We stop
Fargo.
at Pancake's house.
And within the span of like 6 months, the very first of what is now the legendary
Nice.
restaurant chain of Waffle House opens. And Waffle House is legendary. Probably
Was there a bloodletting? When did the first match actually happen?
for all the wrong reasons. I mean, even if you've never been to a Waffle House, you've heard about Waffle House because, well,
Yes.
Kid Rock got in a fight there. You've got Haley Booth, the viral Waffle House cook known as the last chairbender. There's entire subreddits
you
and YouTube
fight?
channels almost exclusively dedicated to all the fights that break out at
Can
Waffle House.
you
I remember the
fight?
first time I went to a Waffle House, I stretched first, I grabbed a GoPro, I was ready to be a world star. Nothing exciting happened. I just had delicious breakfast at like 3 o'clock in
World
the morning,
star.
which is probably 99% of people's experiences because despite all of the negative PR, Waffle House makes a ton of money and has an incredible business model. Okay, Waffle
Yes,
House
they
had
do.
about $1.4 billion in revenue last year, which is about $650,000 per location. And when you take into consideration
I guess that could be the reason why Waffle House has yet is still refusing to collaborate with Tekken for that stage. I mean, they're not here to service the Coliseum. They're here to serve waffles.
that each Waffle House is absolutely tiny, that's really impressive. Out of their 2,100 tiny Waffle House locations, their yearly stats are 58 million cups of coffee, 124
Not
million
bad.
waffles, 153 million servings of hash browns, 272 million
Yep.
eggs, which is about 2% of all the eggs consumed in the United States of America,
2%,
and
big.
85 million strips of bacon. Yes, I did the math. That is about 8,000 miles worth of bacon.
Don't worry, what you just heard was, give me a lot of bacon and eggs. What I said was, give me all the bacon and eggs you have.
So Waffle House is obviously doing something right. What exactly are they doing? Well,
Swanson.
it all comes down to their business model and their branding. Now, with the Waffle House
And
branding,
their
all the
staff.
negative PR about fights always breaking out at Waffle House, in a way, has actually helped them out a ton because Waffle House, by and large, is pretty much a regional chain. It's primarily down in the South. Yet, Waffle House has become a household name pretty much everywhere in America. You could have never even seen a Waffle House, and you already know Waffle House is open 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, and they serve breakfast. Why do you know they serve breakfast? Because their
Waffle
name
House.
is fucking Waffle House. I mean, look at this sign. You're driving down the road, you see that, you know everything you need to know. They sell breakfast. But,
All right,
hey,
we
do that
get
with
it.
another breakfast place. If you're not
I
from
honestly feel that this whole thing is sponsored.
there and you don't know what a Denny's or a Perkins or an IHOP is, you have no idea. It's just a restaurant, maybe. Waffle House, they're selling waffles, which means there's like a 99% chance
Breakfast?
they sell other breakfast food. Fucking sold. I'm in. So already, the branding is absolutely incredible, but here's the true genius of it. Why did they call it Waffle House? Why didn't they call it Breakfast House or Bacon House or Hash Brown House? It's because waffles had the highest profit margin. I cannot stress to you enough how absolutely genius that is, right? Because you don't need to sell breakfast, all right? Everybody's already in on breakfast, okay? I
Yep.
could be blackout drunk at 4 in the morning, and you could ask me, hey, do you want breakfast? I'm
Recovery food.
coming up like the Undertaker every single time. And then you go, the only thing open right now is Waffle House. Okay, I was
We
already
go
sold
for
on
it.
breakfast from the get-go, but because Waffle House is where we're going, guess what I'm getting? A motherfucking waffle, and they're making
getting
more
lasagna
money. It makes
after
sense
this.
that Tom Faulkner was a counterintelligence officer because the man literally said 2 words and has already subconsciously tricked you into ordering the most expensive thing on the menu that makes him the most money. So the branding of Waffle House is both simple and brilliant, and the
Got
rest
it.
of the business model matches that to a T. Okay, all Waffle Houses are like virtually identical. They're very small. They only seat like 30 people, and you can actually see the cook
The sand of the Coliseum beckons thee.
making you your food. Now, at a glance, you're just like, oh, they're just going for that like 1950s drive-through type of a vibe, which they are, but there's way more to it than that. Because the restaurant is so small, the kitchen never has the opportunity to get bogged down, meaning that they're moving tables very, very quickly. So instead of having one kitchen and 100 customers, you've got one kitchen and 30 customers, and you can just turn those tables over 3 times faster, which pretty much
Nice.
guarantees that every customer is going to get exactly what they wanted. Okay, they're not going in there for 5-star dining. They're going in there because they're hungry and they want breakfast, and now they're
I really feel like we're beating a dead horse here. Like, yes, Waffle House is great. All hail the great Waffle House.
going to get breakfast really
I
quick.
mean, what else do you want me to say about it? I thought he was gonna show more fights, but no. We're just screaming. We're just singing Waffle House praises as of now.
In a small setting that doesn't feel like a packed restaurant where they have to wait in line to be seated. And I know what you're thinking. What if one Waffle House just reaches its maximum capacity, right? What if it's just completely full with a line out the door 24/7 every day of the year? Waffle House surely would build a bigger Waffle House, right? No. We're gonna take the same parking lot and right next to that first Waffle House, we're gonna build a second fucking Waffle House, okay? The plan is working, and if it's not broke, don't fix it. Which is one of those things that seems dumb, but is actually brilliant. So obviously,
I have lasagna downstairs,
model, and they've done themselves a big favor with their menu because their menu is
getting
overwhelmingly simple. Okay, it's literally one side of one piece of paper. Okay, the entire menu is comprised of like 10 things. They have waffles, sausage, bacon, ham, eggs, toast, biscuits, gravy, butter, and syrup. Guess how many flavors of syrup they have?
Hungry.
One. It's fucking syrup flavored syrup. The entire menu is simple, exactly how it's supposed to be. Oh, sorry, they have hash browns too. Sorry, 11 things, not 10. Anyways, moving on. Another reason they do so good is they actually might be the best fast food chain when it comes to taking care of their employees. They pay them higher than average. They have super flexible schedules.
There's
and
some
they're
good
one
news.
of, if not the only fast food chain that actually offers all their employees health care and dental insurance.
Nice.
Okay, and I know what you're thinking. You're like, okay, but really, how good are they actually treating the Waffle House employees? I got the one stat that's everything you
Wait,
need to know.
didn't the girl, the last chair bender girl, didn't she get fired for basically fighting back or retaliating against a customer? Can someone please put it down in the comments? I honestly remember that she got fired because she retaliated.
Okay, Waffle House treats
Or when I say retaliated, she basically threw the she got fired by throwing the chair back.
their employees so well that employees are willing to commute into a natural disaster to work at a different Waffle House when the occasion arises. Yeah, Waffle House is open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and they fucking mean it, okay? Whenever there's like a hurricane coming or some type of impending natural disaster, Waffle House organizes what they call a jump team, a bunch of Waffle House employees from a different region that's going to be unaffected because they know that their local employees are going to be busy taking care of their own family and their own houses during a hurricane. So they bring in teams from outside the region to work inside of a natural fucking disaster, and they're willing to do it.
Actually, not bad.
Thank you.
Jump team. You never have to.
Okay, McDonald's can barely get their employees to show up on a good day, and Waffle House has employees volunteering to commute into a fucking hurricane to make breakfast. And this is the most impressive part of the business because Waffle House has the best logistics and preparedness of any company I've ever seen ever. The only entity that beats them in logistical capacity is the United States military. Waffle House is literally ready for absolutely anything. Every single Waffle House has the playbook inside of it that details exactly how the staff is supposed to handle literally any type of emergency or situation that could possibly arise. And if for some reason...
Hold on, I'm honestly going to check if that thing is available to the public. The Waffle House playbook. Playbook. Oh! Oh! Hold on. There's a Waffle House playbook, Storm Playbook of 2022. It's a PDF file. I'm not talking about a criminal that likes minors, but there's literally a PDF file available online of the Waffle House Storm Playbook. Although it's taking quite some time to actually open up. Okay, anyways, let's keep on moving.
The situation comes across that isn't in that playbook, after it happens, they immediately add it to the playbook. It covers tornadoes, hurricanes, floods, a hole in the roof from a branch falling, a car driving into the restaurant. You can drive a car into Waffle House and they're still planning on staying open. The playbook even has detailed plans for every type of disaster for what the local employees, while they're not working, should go home and do to make sure that their house and their family are safe as well. Every single Waffle House has a backup generator. The stovetop, it runs on propane, and they have a bunch of extra propane tanks on hand. Flashlights, candles, batteries, backup water. They have a special menu of what they're able to serve when the water is out and they're running on reserve water. When a Waffle House location is going to be in a disaster area,
I wonder if it has something to do with the military background of the founders. Because I've seen the film, the founder of McDonald's. The whole thing looked like chaotic from the beginning. The whole thing was chaos from the beginning.
House stocks up on extra food, and then all of the neighboring locations in the unaffected area also stock up and stage food there to get them more food when they need it. If Waffle House is a standing structure, those motherfuckers are serving breakfast come hell or high water.
I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving.
Present.
I'm not fucking leaving!
Waffle House is so good at this that FEMA uses them to gauge how bad natural disasters really are. Yes, FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, literally uses the Waffle House Index to gauge how bad a disaster is. Okay, green, Waffle House is running as normal. Yellow, Waffle House is using the backup generator or having to use an altered menu.
Red,
Waffle House is
completely closed.
People are probably already
That's the
fucking dead by that
apocalypse.
point. Waffle House is literally the Terminator of the fast food industry, okay? The fact that the federal government,
Well-deserved
probably
title.
the most powerful entity on the planet, maybe ever, looks at a chain of restaurants and is like, man, if Waffle House is closed, we need to mobilize the
we need to get
National
out of
Guard,
here.
is fucking crazy. Now, maybe you guys are thinking the same thing I was at this point in my research, and I'm like, man, I need to invest in this company. I need to see if I can open up my own Waffle House franchise. This company's awesome. And this is where the bad news comes in.
It's
I
not
mean,
public.
technically you can franchise a Waffle House, but most of us probably can't. The company is privately owned. It's
Oh,
not
it's
on the
privately
stock
owned, not
market. It's
public.
still owned by the families of the original two founders. And while they do allow franchises, they are super picky about who they let buy in to have a franchise, and they make it very, very expensive to buy in to make sure this is actually what you want. And while
I mean, quality control. Despite their reputation, they actually uphold quality control.
it is unfortunate, I think it's actually kind of awesome. It's a company that actually has morals and cares about their image more than they care about next quarter's profits, okay? It's
Amazing.
a company that has committed themselves to making breakfast under any circumstances, and they're gonna see that through till the very end, even though they could probably make way more money by just selling franchises and letting whoever the fuck throw up a Waffle House. And now for the fairy tale ending, Joe and Tom worked together as best friends for 62 years to build Waffle House into
Amazing.
what it is today. They both passed away at the ages of 97 and 98, and now Waffle House and their legacy lives on as that company is still being operated by their kids. And
Yes.
that is the American dream. Get together with one of
It
your
is,
best
isn't it?
friends, pick a goal, even if it's something as simple as serving breakfast to people, and never let anything get in between
That's not simple. It's actually quite noble. You serve food to people. You feed people. Yeah.
you and achieving your goal. Even hurricanes and floods and natural disasters, apparently. Work with your best buddy for 62 years straight and then die together and hand it off to your kids. In conclusion, Waffle House is the most American company ever, and that's why I love it. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang out.
Bye! Thank you for watching, guys. Now, if you want me to check out other stories here on YouTube, please let me know in the comments. We upload on the weekends, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Also, check out our Twitch channel where you can watch me do this live. And please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do the whole notification button thing to help me out with the algo, and class dismissed.